Jags get there, man, at head coach, and now they have to find the staff and figure out the front office. We'll talk about that today here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on, good people? Today's show is sponsored by Get Upside. Just download the free Get Upside app and use the promo code Touchdown to get 25 cents per gallon or more cash back on your first tank. The Jaguars got a coach, y'all. Doug Pederson, the former Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl winning head coach, was named the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars officially by the team. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about the ramifications of it, go a little bit through the process that, we all have gone through over the last month. But I got to tell you, man, we are thankful to have you here on Locked On Jaguars, your daily podcast, where we cover the Jags because we're your team every day. And we appreciate you all making us your first listen. Make sure you like and subscribe on this free content because wherever you go, the content is free. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page also, please. And thank you. Well, after a long search, after what seemed to be more of a circus than a search, the Jaguars have, I wouldn't say settled, I wouldn't qualify it as that, but they have finally decided who's going to lead this team for the future and what direction they're going to go. Doug Pederson, whose last job was the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, is the new head coach. So I'm going to discuss that a little bit, discuss how I think it affects the offseason in terms of adding talent. And then three, last but not least, how is this good enough to reconcile the fans back with management? And is it good enough to basically reconcile or save the reputation of the Jaguars because of the way they're perceived around the league? So we'll get into that. But let me tell you about Doug Pederson a little bit, man. Doug Pederson, of course, comes from the Andy Reid coaching tree. Was a long time, he played quarterback and then was a long time quarterback coach and assistant for Andy Reid in various stops in Philadelphia and in Kansas City, and then got the job in Philadelphia as the head coach and won a Super Bowl before his mentor did. So he's one of many guys who used to coach for Andy Reid who has gotten head coaching jobs. But look, he was one of my top three guys. When this all came out and they started saying, who would you like to coach? I said Jim Caldwell, Byron Leftwich, and Andy Reid were the three guys that I thought the Jaguars should target more than anybody else. The reason why for all of these guys, Caldwell, because of his ability to cultivate a culture and his track record of teaching and elevating quarterback play. Doug Pederson, because he was a veteran, long-time NFL guy that knows how things go, unlike the dude that he's replacing. He understands, he gets it, he understands training camps, he understands quarterbacks. He definitely understands getting a team to have an identity, because that Philadelphia team that won the Super Bowl a few years back, they definitely had an identity, and it resonated with the fans because they had to overcome the fact that they had never won anything. They were the only sports team in their town to not win a title, and they're beloved, and the fans up there are crazy, just like Jaguar fans are crazy. So I give him a lot of credit. I see the phrase, the term lightning in a bottle, got lucky. Let me tell you something. When you beat New England with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and you beat them in their prime, and you beat them after they came roaring back into the game and took and you had to get a lead and hold them off and make all of those critical plays. I challenge y'all to go back and watch that game. I don't care where you have to watch it, but pull it up and stream it and watch that game and tell me that dude didn't have that team prepared for whatever they had to be prepared for. Fourth down conversions. You don't do that by accident in big games like that. All right. You don't do. How many times have we seen teams screw up in the moment because the moment got big? I think Bomani Jones calls it lemon booty, when everything just puckers up, right? You don't do what he did in that game by accident with a backup quarterback. Nick Foles, a guy you guys have seen firsthand, right? Ask the Bears if just having Nick Foles in the playoffs and having a coach like Matt Nagy who's familiar with him. Ask them if that's enough. So I can beat up on the Jaguars all day about this process, about how they went about their business, because quite frankly, they could have lost him too. They could have lost Doug Pederson. The Saints might have been lurking and looming around and trying to figure out if they were going to hire Doug Pederson. I do, however, caution and want to slow down a little bit on overly criticizing folks on either side. And the reason why I'll do that is this. Why would a team 2 years after winning a Super Bowl let go of their coach? Are there things going on? Are there does he have a problem getting along? Is it as simple as the fact that people say he wasn't speaking to Carson Wentz and Carson Wentz wasn't speaking to him, and management felt like Carson was their franchise quarterback and was only a year removed away from being an MVP candidate before he got hurt? And or was it Doug just saying, look, I don't believe in him? And maybe Carson had a backdoor access to the team, to the general manager, and to the people that picked him into ownership, sort of the way RG3 or Robert Griffith III had those things. Who knows? And it causes a little bit of dissension in the ranks. The bottom line is you don't win Super Bowls and let your coach go in 2 years. It's a little weird, right? But then Carson Wentz goes to the Colts. Don't look like they're too happy with him either. So maybe he was right. Maybe he was right. What happened in Philly? Don't know. What could happen for the Jaguars? I'm going to give you all of that and tell you about the Jaguars and their new coach, Doug Pederson, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we'll talk more about Doug Pederson and his impact and what it means in the Jaguars in terms of free agency and what it means for Trevor Lawrence. We'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. Hey, man, this is Tony Wiggins with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. It is the Get Upside app. That's right. It's the Get Upside app. And all you got to do is go to Google Play or to your Play Store on your phone and download the app. That's right. In your App Store or on Google Play, download the app. And when you use the promo code TOUCHDOWN, you'll get 25 cents per gallon or more on your first fill up. Cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use the promo code TOUCHDOWN for 25 cents per gallon or more on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200-$300 a year in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account, and you can cash out at any time at your bank, PayPal, or e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use the promo code TOUCHDOWN. Now, if you think $200 a year, think about $200 a year. What if you got $200 a year and you saved that for 15 years, right? And you look up and you got $3,000. $3,000 that'll help you buy a new refrigerator for your house or something. So don't poo-poo this. It is savings that you can use. Make sure you download the Get Upside app and use the promo code TOUCHDOWN. Also got to let you guys know about Bet Online. That's right. Bet Online is the absolute truth and remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's betonline.net. That's right. You have to really pay attention now to what I say. betonline.net. And it's not just football on betonline.net that has up-to-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available for the 2022 season. betonline.net is where the game starts. And where you start with us is right here on Locked On Jaguars. The Jaguars have a new head coach. His name is Doug Pederson. He has won a Super Bowl. He's a former NFL quarterback who knows the quarterback position. So what does that mean for Trevor Lawrence? I think it means a lot. One, the thing about Doug Pederson is he don't mind standing behind that microphone. The other thing is he ain't gonna sugarcoat anything in a press conference. And one thing he won't do is when the team is in trouble, he ain't gonna run and hide, and he won't keep shoveling his young quarterback out there to calm the natives down. That's not gonna happen. So Trevor can now focus on being a quarterback, focus on improving, focus on being a good teammate, and enjoying himself in the locker room and trying to get better with his teammates, as opposed to looking like he's Ari Fleischer and standing out here trying to give press conferences to calm the natives because the product on the field is bad. He is going to be extremely organized. That's one. He's going to be extremely balanced on offense. That's two. Well, he'll use multiple running backs. The thing about him that I love is go back and look at Philly. They had three guys. They run them all. And the way that they designed those plays in Philadelphia, the thing that they were able to identify offensive linemen and have depth at offensive line, the way that they designed the runs. I remember in the Super Bowl, those dudes were running through holes that looked like they were 6 miles wide. Okay. And I talked about this with someone last night. I said, remember in the Super Bowl when the Patriots tried that little pass to Tom Brady and it didn't work? And Doug and Foles had this thing. Let's do this. Let's do it. Go back and listen, and if you can find it, I don't know if it's on NFL Films or what, but during a timeout, Doug, they're talking and they're interacting. He said, "You want to run this?" Foles says, "Let's do this. Let's do this." He said, "Yeah, you think it'll work? All right, go ahead, run it." You see the interaction between coach and quarterback that is extremely important. I think it was this past season on either Thursday or Sunday night. Lamar Jackson had this much to go. They could have kicked the field goal and tied it, or they could have kicked the field goal and had to kick the ball back off to the other team. Harbaugh said, "Lamar, do you want to go for this?" Lamar says, "Yeah." He says, "Let's go for it." That rapport and that amount of confidence in your quarterback and the quarterback having that much confidence in the coach is something that we really, really, really need here in Jacksonville, and we really, really missed it. So what I believe Doug Pederson will do for Trevor Lawrence is have that rapport with him, and he'll have that confidence, and they'll be on the same page. Coach quarterback combination is very important when it's not dysfunctional. When it works, it's going to work. And I think Doug Pederson is the type. He's going to love Trevor Lawrence too. I believe Doug Pederson is the type of quarterback or type of coach that he sees something in Trevor. He's going to love Trevor's attitude. Trevor doesn't shrink, and because Pederson is a tough guy. There's a lot of people that might think, okay, Wig, man, you totally advocating for this guy. You totally in on him. What about Byron? What about Caldwell? I'm not wasting my time anymore talking about stuff that's not going to happen. Byron's gone. Caldwell's gone. I will tell you that Doug Pederson was one of the guys that I liked. And I got podcasts to prove it now. All you got to do is go back and look. I like the thought of having that guy around here. I did. This process. Did I like the process? No. The fact that he was the first interview and then he was the last guy hired after 35, 40 days, they're lucky he wasn't somewhere else. That's the way I see it. And there are people that think, okay, well, you guys didn't let it play out. This is what it was going to be. No, the hell it wasn't. I don't know. For people who think folks in the media were making up stuff, you're doing that right now. Just because you got this end result. And if you go back and listen on one of my pods, I said, there's a chance that they could still stumble and bumble and fall themselves into a good coach. But this was not an ideal process. All right? This is like you cooking a dish and you screwed it up. You can't. Well, one thing you can't do, you can't burn your onions. You burn your onions, it's over. But you might have put a little bit too much something in something, and you tasted it and it wasn't right. And then you start adding stuff, and you use your bit, and you got through it. And people were waiting for their food, and it was a little bit late. But you salvaged that dish and you served it, and they go, "Okay, this is good. Thank you, thank you." You waited a little too long, but still, it's good. I might not give you a bigger tip, but it's good. That's what this was like. And hearing people talk at the Senior Bowl and people that I know and I trust gave me the feeling that the Jaguars were acting like an Instagram pick me at NBA All-Star Weekend. Hey, me, no, thank you. Coaches just walking by. Nah, we don't want nothing to do with that. You got that dude with you. You got that bulky dude with you. And it's still yet to be understood what the role of Rick Spielman was going to be. Um, I want to hear the messaging. I want to hear the press conference. And I ain't even talking about Doug Peterson. I want to hear shot. And I want to hear from whoever's going to be in charge of personnel and what the structure of that is going to be. Will the fans have confidence in this team moving forward? Will the fans have what I believe to be a much needed reboot? Or has so much going on now that they start looking at the Jaguars with a side eye? And if that's the case, what will it take to get it back? I'll tell you in the third and final segment here on a Friday here on Locked On Jaguars. Right now, man, I'm going to tell you about Built Bar because it's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar and maybe even better than a candy bar, right? Candy bars have uh, a lot of sugar. Built Bar doesn't. They have a lot of stuff that's not good for you, and they don't have as much protein. Built Bar has 130 calories in most of them, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. The thing is though the texture isn't waxy or chalky, right? And it doesn't give an aftertaste. It actually tastes like a candy bar because it's covered with 100% chocolate, no matter which flavor you get. And there are several great flavors. My personal favorite is the salted caramel. You guys know that. I test them all out and I like them. But boy, man, when I go back to that salted caramel and the contrast of that salt and that caramel hits my palate, it just does something for me. And it is my favorite one. So you don't have to choose that. There are numerous flavors you can choose from: coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, mint brownie, and many, many more. In fact, Built is always coming out with new limited time flavors. So check them out at built.com very often to see what's new. And if you want to check them out on Twitter, it's at @bar_built to see all of the latest information. And when you want to get the latest information about the Jaguars, you check in with the daily podcast that is Locked On Jaguars, because we're here, we're your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. The fans, what does it mean? I think they're a little bit exhausted. I think they're fatigued, need some rest. They need an ice bath, okay? And a shot of brown liquor and some candles burning, and they need some care right now. And if I'm the Jaguars, I'm very careful with my messaging, and I'm very careful with I don't come out all puffed up saying that, you guys thought we were clowns and this is what we were doing and we got you a Super Bowl winning coach. No. Don't do that. No, you need to put some flowers on the floor. You need to buy some candy. You need to cater some food. You need to set a warm bath or an ice bath or whichever one. You need to ask them, what's your favorite drink, and get top shelf. And you need to tell the Jag fans, relax, baby, it's your night. I know I put you through a lot, but we're going to get through this together. And it might not have looked right. And at times it might not have felt right. And I understand that you don't have a whole lot of confidence in us. But rest assured, we will earn your trust and earn your confidence by trying to win as many games as possible. And we think Doug Pederson is the guy to get us there. We want our on-field play to match your off-the-field passion that you have for us. We want our on-field play to match the resiliency of Duval County and its fan base. We want our on-field performance and results to match the fact that even when things got bad, you kept coming and you kept showing up. We need to come and we need to show up. And we think today is the first day for us to do that. Something along that line. I don't want to hear all this other stuff. I don't want to hear all of this. You guys, people don't understand the process, and the process, we had to do this right and y'all did not plan for this to go like this. And if you don't tell people the truth, it's going to take you longer to win their good graces back. I think I like the hire. It could have been, I would have liked Byron too. I would have liked that Doug Caldwell. Not Doug Caldwell. I call the man Doug Caldwell. Jim Caldwell too. I tell you what, I'll give you a chance because of how I felt about Doug Pederson before he ever became attached to the Jaguars organization. and it was high. And I'm not going to change that just because there's dysfunction in the process. And I'm not going to change that just because I may at some point wanted it to be Leftwich for a number of reasons. Um, because I really think he's really, really good, and I think he's young, and I think he galvanized. And then if you hire him, 9 times out of 10 you don't keep Trent, and I don't want Trent around the team. The other part is the fans settle down, but those aren't the reasons that you do it. You do it because of what I said, and I think he's going to be a great coach and an asset to wherever he goes. And every single person I talked to, whether it was an agent, whether it was someone in personnel, whether it was someone who worked for another team, whether it was former players, not even his former teammates, players that played against him, they all said the same thing about Byron Leftwich. And those things that they were saying about him are usually the things you want connected to your football team. Now, byproduct of him being the coach would have been he's one of ours, right? And the fans wanted it. That's why I want to know if Trent is going to still be around and if the breaking point between Leftwich and Doug Pederson was the fact that he's willing to work with Trent. But I will tell you this. Pederson's personality. If Pederson has a problem at any point with Trent Baalke, that means you're going to have more drama in Jacksonville, okay? And it's something that we're used to. But let me give you this little bit of this is just me injecting this. If they have a problem with each other, Pederson ain't going to get bullied. I bet you if they ever have a problem, we don't want that to happen. We ain't speaking into existence. But all you Jaguar fans that don't like Doug Pederson, but probably don't like Trent Baalke more, let me explain something to you. Doug Pederson ain't backing down from nobody. You hear me? If we ever get to the point where it becomes one or the other, it's going to be Trent. Especially if what I anticipate happens or happening is going to happen. And that is that Doug Pederson and Trevor Lawrence are going to be like peanut butter and jelly. And at some point, this team is going to figure out that you have to do what's best for Trevor Lawrence before you do what's best for anybody. Because where that quarterback goes is where this franchise goes, and it's where this team will go. I know you guys ain't going anywhere because you're here with me every single day, but I tell you what, Locked On Bets is ready to give you your information that you'll need for Super Week because Super Week is right here. Locked On NFL is going to the Super Week along with Locked On Rams and Locked On Bengals. It's also a time for you to make your wagers. There's going to be some parlays. There's going to be some special cards, some special stuff. You better make sure that you jump on that on Locked On Bets and listen to your boy Q at least Sterling to get all of the information that you may need for your wagering needs before you make your wagers. Tony Wiggins, man, here on Locked On Jaguars. I appreciate you making us your first listen. You guys enjoy the weekend. You got a coach, Doug Pederson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, you guys continue to take care of each other, and I'll do the same.